Four, 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 four.
On five. Five. You hear me? Okay. Nice thumb. Both of them. The one with that played the lion? Oh. Yeah.
Hey, Bob. Feel a little. Yeah. I don't know if it's something I have for lunch, but my stomach's flowing.
Let me ask you why. What happened? It wasn't the COVID.
Number six.
Testing 6.
Yeah.
Thank you. Seven.
Ready to go sideways? Hello? Hello? Okay. Hello.
We're good.
I hear. Can you hear me? Nine. Okay.
Good to go now. Thank you, dear. Council, today I'm here before the council to say I thought the traffic circle worked much better than anyone imagined. Thank you.
You know, we're in the suicide street. So the first suicide, you know, it's straight up, you know, not in place. So the first suicide.
Yes.
I said, Indianapolis, so I was out there. Well, then they started another one. Okay, so I'm in this another one, and I've won 3 now. My brother and I. But we picked Dallas. And my goodness, New York hasn't scored more than 14 points all year, and they scored 30 points on that. 30 points on that. And then my other pick was Wayne's Lee. I was liberated between San Francisco, Dallas, or Baltimore. I want to say Baltimore. Because you know what? I was that close to going with San Francisco.
All right. We've got a camera feed down here. The levels are low on his camera. Can we boost that any?
Yeah, he's listening to it now.
Yeah. He's listening
Cameron,
to
does
it
that sound
now.
better? Okay, we're good now.
We're good now? All right.
Thank you. Yeah, he tested it, he said it's good now.
Okay, yeah, because I wasn't, when I run the test, I spent
No, they're on. Okay, let's start the meeting. Call the roll. I'm here.
Vice Mayor Petronanda.
Here.
Councilman Best.
Present.
Councilwoman Mitchell. Councilman Fahed.
Go ahead. Please stand for invocation. So, Lord, thank you tonight for us to be able to meet in person for the first time in months. Maybe this will be a good opportunity for us to get along and see what we can do good for the city. I say my prayers for the people who have COVID and who have passed from COVID, that the people can take solace that maybe we'll get through this and have a good 2021. Amen. We'll say the pledge. Hats off. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Welcome to the crowd out there. We have 3. We have no agenda order of business. 4, no awards or presentations. So 5, open forum. This is anybody that wish to speak on any item. And I open it up for anybody on the Zoom or in person. That's not, yeah, I figured she was do the agenda item. Anybody we have on Zoom there that's calling in or anything? Hey, Tammy.
Good evening.
Followed by the pound sign. There is no participant meeting. That's on. by the Zoom app.
Nobody? All right, we're going to close the public hearing. If anybody chimes in or, like we've done before. We go to 6A, approval of council minutes. That's September 28, 2020, regular meeting. Entertain a motion.
Motion to move, sir. Second.
Call the vote.
Vice Mayor Petrolamba.
Yes.
Councilman Dodd.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mitchell.
Yes.
Councilman Behet.
Yes.
Mayor Bain.
Yes, we're gonna go past the agenda items, and I'm gonna ask council if we can go right to 11A, the resolution of the agreement with the police department.
This is a resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of Miami Springs, Florida, approving a collective bargaining agreement with the Florida State Lodge Fraternal Order of Police, Inc., on behalf of the city of Miami Springs police officers and sergeants, collective bargaining unit covering fiscal years 2020, 2021 through 2022, 2023, providing for authorization and providing for an effective date. After a few weeks of negotiations, I have Mr. Jim Cross here. He's our labor attorney. I provided council with a copy of the proposed union contract that's already been executed by the FOP. So we recommend approval of this resolution so that we can get this contract going for the next 3 years.
Okay, are there any questions or any comments?
Yes, sir. Thank you. For the chair, Jim, I'd like to, on behalf of the council and the city of Miami Springs, I'd like to thank you for your diligent efforts in accomplishing this once again, and particularly so quickly as you did.
The microphone, Mr. Cross. The microphone. It's okay.
Not used to this.
That's okay.
Appreciate your confidence in me. The negotiations went very well this time. It's a good contract both for the city and the police officers and sergeants. And appreciate you letting me represent you.
Thank you. Anything else? I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to move, sir.
Second.
You get a second? Second? Time? Call the vote.
Vice Mayor Petrolanda.
Yes.
Councilman Dodd.
Aye.
Councilwoman Mitchell.
Yes.
Councilman Behet.
Yes.
Mayor Bain.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Nice to see you.
Thank you.
Good seeing you.
Thank you, Jim.
Any ordinance?
Wanted to make sure you got out of here as fast as you could, so you have to pay you. That's terrible. All right, we go to,
Are we doing the
okay,
related
we'll go back to
ordinance?
the consent agenda. Now, on the consent agenda, does anybody have any items that they want to pull off and discuss before we go through them? These are all the agenda items that,
Mayor, as a point of order, item 9A will be deferred until the next meeting in October. So that will not be part of the consent agenda. But
9A is going to be taken off. These are all the different things because we approved the budget to get it started for the year. That's why there's so many here at one time. So we're pulling 9A to eliminate from D to.
Yes, I'll go ahead and read off all of the consent agenda items. However, I just want to say one thing since I'm hearing it from the Zoom meeting. If you guys could all speak into your microphones a little closer because it's very hard for even me to hear.
Tammy, I think with the mayor's request, do you want everything read?
Well,
or should-
I think we can, if they want to just go ahead and approve the agenda the way it reads, or you want to,
What I tried to do in compare it to the last 2 years looked at if there's any new vendors and the different contracts and everything. I saw no major concern. You know, obviously, it's been a few since done a nice job putting it together.
Is that okay with the rest of you? Okay?
So I'm comfortable with that.
Okay, all right, so I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda B to B.
Oh, thank you.
I can't hear
I said, oh, thank you for not letting me read all of those.
you. Who got a motion to move?
Petrolano.
And second here, call the vote.
Vice Mayor Petrolano.
Yes. Yes. We go to 11B, an ordinance.
This is, no,
An ordinance of the city of Miami, in Florida, amending section 35/55 contributions of the police and fire and detention plan of the Police Code of Ordinances, providing for conflict, providing for severability, providing for inclusion in the code, and providing for an effective date. Now, so this is an ordinance that relates to the resolution that you just approved, which is the collective bargaining agreement. This is not a first hearing, so you'll have to have it October 26th.
Okay. Any discussion?
William?
yes, this is part of the new contract where we are reducing the contribution to police to 9.5 years, so currently 10.5.
More desirable
Of
for
course,
them to stay
of
with
course,
once they're hired.
right, yes.
But isn't there also a calculation of why we can go down to 9.5 because of different things within the pension, how it collects its money?
Because over the last, since our pension, they use an average over the
Right.
five years. So since the stock market has been performing so well, we've been able to lower
Right.
the cost to both sides, to the
Gotcha.
city and to the office.
Gotcha. Just wanted that clear. So I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to move, sir?
I'll second.
Call the vote, please.
Vice Mayor Petrolano.
Yes.
Councilman Best.
Aye.
Councilman Mitchell. Yes. Councilman Behet.
Yes.
Mayor Dane.
Yes, we go to C.
This is a resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of Miami Springs, providing for the Fourth Amendment to the fiscal year 1920 general fund and sanitation fund budgets to record insurance proceeds and purchase of a police vehicle and costs related to increased dumping fees due to increased bulk trash collection and providing for an effective date.
Through the chair, William, this is as a result of what the county did in terms of their increase, correct?
It's not
Tied to
necessarily.
it.
What's happened is over the last 6 months, since people are home, the amount of trash and garbage that we've been collecting has increased considerably. So that's why we needed to make a change in the sanitation budget to make up for that.
Okay, so principally from the increase.
Yeah.
The traffic.
Any other thing, any entertain a motion?
Move item C.
Second. Any further discussion? Call the vote, please.
Vice Mayor Petrolano.
Yes.
Councilman Best.
Aye.
Councilman Mitchell. Yes. Councilman Behet.
Yes.
Mayor Dane.
Yes, we go to D.
This is a resolution of the city council of the city of Miami Springs providing for the first budget amendment to the fiscal year 2021 general fund, special revenue and capital project fund budget by reappropriating reserved fund balances to fund open encumbrances to September 30th, 2020, and providing for an effective date. This is the first budget amendment that we do every year as we start to bring them forward the encumbrances from the previous year to this year.
Motion to move, sir?
Second.
Any discussion? Call the vote, please.
Vice Mayor Petrolano. Councilman Best.
Aye.
Councilman Mitchell. Yes. Councilman Behet.
Yes.
Mayor Dane.
Yes, William, you said you had to leave now? You say it's not feeling good, you want to leave now, or you want to wait?
Get it over with.
All right, this is 12A, this is a vote of confidence for the city manager as required by section 4.02 to 2 of the city charter. Yeah, I'll entertain a motion and then discussion, whatever. I'll let Councilman Best, you want to go first? Or?
First, before I start, I'll emphatically motion to move the item.
Okay, do I get a second? You got a second here? Anything from you, Councilman?
Yeah, once again, and we do this every year, and I just don't know how much more I can say about the attributes of this man and how he consistently, in lieu of difficulty, manages to put things together and get stuff done in this town. Citizens, I just can't believe how blessed we are to have somebody like him. Again, I emphatically made the motion, and I hope you're with us for some time to come. Thank you.
Councilman Mitchell?
I agree with Councilman Best, and I have found over the past 3.5 years that I've been sitting on this council that there is not 1 inch of anything going on in Miami Springs, in a city that William is not familiar with, cannot fill me in on right away. I call him in the evenings, on weekends. We text anything that comes up, and he is on top of it. And if he doesn't know about it, within 15 minutes, he finds out about it and gets back to me. And I'm just really, really impressed that. But more than anything else, and I'm very impressed by your professionalism, your expertise, your ability to administer, obviously your finance abilities, yes, which are exceptional. But more than anything, I am impressed how you just don't get flustered. Just no matter what is thrown your way or what we, you just stay cool and calm and collect, and I appreciate that.
Well, I will say we all have a different relationship with him, so he might get flustered when he talks to me. Mr. Councilman, listen.
Yeah, just incredibly responsive, servant to the city, and just very hardworking and unbelievable asset to the city of Miami Springs. So we thank you for your efforts and your service to the city.
Mr. Petrolong, anything from you? Oh, thumbs up.
No, I just want to add to everybody, what everybody said. I think one of the reasons the city's continued to grow, to move ahead the way it has been through this pandemic, it has to do with the leadership of our city manager. I don't know how many food drives have we done, 10, 15, 20. And every time we call the city manager, he's there and he makes it happen. I think one of the reasons things are running so well here is because of you, sir. And I want to thank you. I've been in council now for 8 years. I've seen Ron Gorland's style and I've seen yours. And by far, both of you have done a fine job. But I think we could give you a little more credit is because of what we're going through right now with this pandemic. Okay. And how you've been able to handle it. I've been hearing from residents that every time they talk to you, they call you, you treat them with respect and you're very professional. So thank you for staying, for being here. I hope what is happening with Tom is not going to happen with you anytime soon, because I think we'll miss you. But thank you, sir.
On Sunday mornings when we chat, 10 o'clock in the morning, and the different things. Did this happen? Did that happen? He does always have the right response, and as was said up here from others, if he needs something, he usually has the answer, and if he doesn't, you find out right as soon as he possibly can get to you. And he just does a heck of a job. That's all I can say. More than that, he just does a great job of keeping us informed of what's going on so we can answer residents' questions. And that's important. The communication is the most important thing in him to us, and then to us to the residents. So thank you very much. I'll entertain. We got a motion. I'll call the vote.
Motion to.
We got the.
There was a
calling the vote.
Oh, I got it.
Vice Mayor Petrolano?
Yes, absolutely.
Councilman Best?
Aye.
Councilwoman Mitchell?
Yes.
Councilman Farhat?
Yes.
Mayor Bay?
Yes, we go on to 12B, a request from Councilwoman Mitchell and Councilman Best for discussion of the city's Section 9-02, keeping of animals prohibited exceptions, and 903 number of cats maintained. We have one person in the audience to speak on this. It's Lainey Silver.
Sorry, my people couldn't be here because of COVID, but thank you.
I mean,
And sorry if this is redundant. I hope you all got the link to an article I sent today to the city clerk. It's an article in Animal Sheltering Magazine that profiles our animal services and the issue with cats in Miami-Dade County and the changes that have occurred and what they offer, and as well as what we offer. So I couldn't print it out because it corrupted, but I did send it to all of you. So hopefully you'll get to read it after this meeting.
When did you send it?
Today, this morning.
I don't know if I saw it. Did you see it?
I received it, I just haven't had time to read it.
Yeah, I didn't think you
This
would, so I
morning.
apologize that I didn't get to it sooner. Good evening, Mayor Bain and members of the City Council. I'm Lainey Silver of 931 Dove Avenue. I'm an animal advocate and the director of Community Pet Rescue, a community service nonprofit organization here in Miami Springs. I come before you this evening to specifically address these two city ordinances. Since these ordinances were passed in the 50s, a lot has changed in the pet stray cat world. TNR, trap, neuter, return, is a familiar catchphrase. Low and no cost spay neuter is more widely available. No kill shelters and rescues are a growing reality, just to name a few. Stray cats are now recognized as community cats and are considered free roaming in Miami-Dade County by the animal welfare community. While they're not always welcome by all, they are a fact of life. TNR efforts are recognized as the way to reduce the number of cats on the streets by those involved in humane animal care. Our organization manages and feeds many cat colonies in the community. They've all been spayed or neutered and are fed daily to minimize any negative impact on the community. This also ensures that if new cats show up, they'll be trapped for spay neuter. The real issue is people dumping cats. If we could somehow stop that, I would not be here this evening. For those familiar with our organization, you know that different city departments, other community service organizations, and individual residents call us whenever there's an animal issue in the city. And we do our best to provide positive outcomes. We have over 50 springers who volunteer with our organization daily, and the majority of our financial support comes from this community. Over the years, there have been animal problems brought to the attention of city management. In our experience, conservatively, 80% of the time, the primary issue is not animal related and the animals are pawns in a larger disagreement between neighbors. The two ordinances are in direct conflict with the new norm. There's an enormous push nationally to reduce euthanasia rates and focus on humane solutions. Because of our extensive involvement in the community, we've been forced to create facilities to house some of the cats that could not survive on the street. These facilities are well maintained by our volunteers. All cats are completely vetted initially, and if health issues arise, they receive additional vet care. Properly maintaining these animals takes a lot of man hours and financial commitment, but we do this willingly as a community service. I don't believe anyone wants to see animals killed for convenience. I certainly hope nobody in this room wants the blood of these animals on their hands or their deaths on their conscience. And by the way, those facilities are illegal because of this ordinance. As all of you on the council are aware, the Runway Inn was recently shut down because the guests were creating a criminal nuisance in the community. Kudos to all those involved in making this happen. For those that are unaware, this hotel has housed a cat sanctuary for over 30 years. The cats are in non-guest areas and the windows of the guest rooms are sealed so the guests and the cats are safely separated. All of the cats are completely vetted and well cared for. With the closing of the hotel and the enforcement of this ordinance, these cats must be removed and there's nowhere for them to go. This is a perfect example of animals being in the wrong place at the wrong time, becoming pawns in a greater issue. There are many animal-loving residents willing to take a few, but are in fear of their compassionate act being a criminal act. This single event has made elimination of these ordinances an urgent matter. So basically, when the city enforces these codes, it's a death sentence for these cats, not to mention the others that come to people's houses that they feed out of the goodness of their hearts. If they're caring for more than 3, well, they must go, and there's no place for them to go. The shelter will not take them because they're deemed unadoptable, and it would increase their euthanasia numbers. Not to mention, they're usually overcrowded and there's no space. The county has made it illegal to arbitrarily relocate cats as well. They consider this a form of animal cruelty. I was raised in a time when my neighbors, my community was my family. We all knew each other, looked out for each other, and generally took care of each other. I'd like to see Miami Springs return to that type of culture, where neighbors work out their differences together. Mr. Mayor, members of the council, I come before you this evening to ask you to find it in your hearts to let these members of our community live out their lives. If there's an issue with residents not wanting cats on their property, let my organization mediate to create a win-win outcome. I also propose that we be proactive. Instead of involving the arm of code compliance to issue warnings and citations, let my organization work with our city employees on the street from code compliance, public works, and the police department to get to these problem areas before they become a problem. Please kill these ordinances and let the animals live. Thank you.
Is there anybody on Zoom that wants to speak to this?
If anyone attending the meeting via Zoom, by telephone, dial *6. Yes, hi, can you all hear me?
Go ahead.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Yes, my name is Paul, longtime mommy, and I wanted to reiterate. Hi, can you all hear me? Yes. A lot of background. I'm not sure if this is working. I just wanted to speak and reiterate. Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Fine.
Yes.
Keep going.
Yes, hi. Can you hear me? Okay, I cannot hear you guys hardly on the other end here.
Just have to, if you can, you with your, it just goes right through. Don't worry about it.
Okay, I just wanted to speak to what Lainey had said. I'm a resident here in Miami Springs. I considered the cats a nuisance and a problem. Lainey and her organization and the people, the volunteers, came out completely mitigated. I completely the elimination of these ordinances that we can properly care for the cats. Me personally dealing with this and seeing what they do, I think it's a very valuable part of our community to be kind to our animals. And I just support Lainey and her organization, and I'm speaking in support of repealing these ordinances.
Okay, thank you. Nobody else? Okay, it's for discussion here.
I have some, Mayor, some questions actually for Lainey. Yes, please. Lainey, and I have nothing but the utmost respect for the task you do and all of your volunteers and stuff. It's a very noble cause. And I think you remember years and years ago, at the Women's Club, you know, I asked to have you honored for the work that you do.
As a matter of fact, that award fell on my head last week.
Believe me,
it's heavy.
I know it's a very generous devotion of your time and money and resources to do this for our community. But I really don't understand why repealing this ordinance, how that affects you. And let me start with this. The runway inn that you brought up. A year ago, we had a guest at the hotel who wrote a letter to everyone on the council. She was horrified. She had stayed at that hotel and she goes, I don't know who else to tell. I told the hotel manager and he didn't care. And she was complaining that she said she stayed in a hotel in Miami Springs and there were cats roaming up and down the halls. There were
But there aren't.
in the dining room. Well, this was a year ago. And if
I'm
you
sorry.
remember after that, you
And I know
spoke.
a year ago, no, they were never roaming in the halls.
Well, she did. She said that. So I have to
Actually,
go.
that was a particular guest at the hotel called the police because she was a problem. And then she ended up calling
All right, look.
every
I
But
don't
let me
want-
just, let's go a little,
available.
but let's,
you
let me
know,
just ask
Okay, I'm
you.
sorry.
We
to
all don't
interrupt
know
you.
the facts of that, so,
Right.
you know.
But when that happened, I remember you spoke before the city council
Mhm.
because the code enforcement had said, can't have 30 cats or however many he had on there. And you spoke before the city council and you asked for time to find homes for the cats. And, you know, and I don't think anything was done with the code enforcement or anything was left. But I guess what I'm confused about is it's been a year and we're still at
Actually,
the same
we're
situation.
both confused. I came before the council a year ago to repeal these ordinances, but was completely unclear on the process and didn't understand what the next step was, and I didn't get any guidance from anybody.
All right.
That's why
I
we're back
misunderstood.
here
I
now.
thought you had asked for time to take care of this, that it wasn't reasonable for you to be able to resolve the problem within the few days or whatever that okay.
No, I was looking to repeal the ordinances a year ago.
So a year later, we still have,
It's still,
same, right.
and the city backed off. The city never enforced it, which, I mean, quite frankly, I'm curious to know if the city has ever effectively enforced these ordinances.
well, and that's what I was going to ask you. That's my last, and again, I'm asking questions just because I'm really
And I
trying to
appreciate it.
grasp,
I'm-
you know, to understand this.
And if I come off defensive, I'm sorry. I
Right, no, and
apologize.
if I seem like I'm, you know, I'm not, I'm just really trying to understand it. If someone, you said that you have a lot of residents here that are willing to, in your words,
They're willing to take on some of the cats.
right, many residents are willing to take a few cats. Okay, a
Right.
few cats to me is 3, you know, or so,
Right, but if
right?
they already have cats, then they're over.
Okay.
And if they
but-
have cats come into
but
their
I
yard and they
don't-
take
I
3,
don't-
they're
I have
over.
never, in the time that I've been in Miami Springs, unless someone is, if people are discreet, and I'm sure there are a lot of homes in Miami Springs that have more than 3 dogs and have more than 3 cats.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, but
I-
they're
I
discreet
think-
about it. It's not bothering a neighbor or anything, so I would say 99% of the time, it's fine, whatever's happening. What does happen is sometimes people abuse the situation, and that's when it's like speeding. All of us are responsible citizens. We don't need speed limits for the majority of us. We need speed limits for the people who are going to speed. And that's why we have laws. It's not for 80% of the population, it's for the 20% that, you know, and when they don't do something, this is the only way, having a law is the only way that we can be a community that, you know, makes it livable for everyone. So I guess what I'm asking is, I don't see repealing the ordinance, how that changes anything with your organization, with what you've been doing all these years, except that it puts us in a situation, our community, of when there are people who are abusing their neighbors by having too many dogs, snakes, I don't know, whatever, cats, there's nothing that we can do. We'll just have to tell them. And residents get very upset when they complain to us and we say there's nothing we can do about it. You know, and it's happened about a whole host of things. So this is something that's been in place for all this time. And again, I imagine discreetly, it's being taken
But
care of.
discreetly,
But-
good
but-
citizens are illegal.
But the difference is, but you said yourself, code enforcement's not coming after them unless
They
it's a
come to my
neighbor.
house,
Unless,
knowing it was my house.
Okay.
so
You said your piece.
I'm not, just a minute, Mayor.
Well,
So
we gotta let other people, so
I'm
go
I
ahead.
will, I'll
Actually-
be sure to let other people talk.
Maria, you're saying that it's okay for us to do illegal things if the city turns their head.
Right.
And I think that's an inappropriate
No,
attitude.
that's what I'm asking for is what if we remove the ordinance, then what we're putting ourselves in the situation that we can't protect citizens in situations where there is abuse or of this, there's nothing we can do. So would it help if we allow, right now it says 3 cats and 3 dogs, would it help if we just set a total of 6 animals? cats or
No,
dogs?
it's an arbitrary number that's
Okay,
meaningless.
but that would,
And like you said, if people are managing their animals well, there are no problems. I'm suggesting that if you do have a problem that's animal related, that you let my organization work it out with the people that have the problem. And if you can check with Mayor Bain how we effectively did that 11 or 12 years ago.
Yeah, I understand.
Where an ordinance was tabled that had been, it was on second reading that it was tabled, and so that our organization could work it out with the two neighbors that had the problem, and we did. We worked it out effectively. It was no longer a problem. The people still had an inordinate number of cats, but they were housed.
okay.
But it
Now,
was still illegal.
so just for clarity, what you want is the repeal of the ordinance itself. You don't want an increase in
Correct,
the number, okay. One
because
other
I think
thing.
it's arbitrary.
I've gotten a lot of calls and phone calls from bird lovers. We are a bird sanctuary in Miami
Mhm.
Springs. And now I've been reading about it, and apparently there seems to be a lot of concern. And the article that I referenced was, because obviously on the internet you could find anything to support your position,
Correct.
is from National Geographic, and it's research with the Smithsonian Institute and the National Fish and Wildlife research that they did recently. This is 2019. And so they were finding that the number of birds that are killed by cats, stray cats, is much more than anyone realizes, and we're having a diminishing population of birds countrywide, and that this is a significant cause of bird deaths in communities.
Actually,
And so I
I'm
just
sorry.
wanted to ask you, what do you say
Actually,
about
there
that?
are other studies that reinforce that human encroachment kills way more birds than community cats or stray animals of any kind. And we see that here, definitely in South Florida.
What we're talking about here is an imbalance, okay?
I'm sorry.
It's an imbalance,
Mhm.
okay? You're talking about, so you can make your argument any which way you
But
want.
like you said, you can find
You can
a
make your
study
argument,
that
the
supports
arguments,
anything.
whichever way you want. It's
Mhm.
like my pet peeve here, which I get no support on, is putting these solar panels on thousands and thousands of acres. You stand up here and we all have our own causes,
Of course.
but we don't have a standard for the causes that we all have, but they're the same. We're arguing about your cause, but what I see happening to thousands and thousands of acres with solar panels is a bigger cause than what this is, in my
Sure, and if you leave
estimation.
my cats alone, I'll take on your
Yeah,
cause, buddy.
yeah. Well, anyway, the argument here is that I can't support repealing the ordinance. Okay, I'm not going to, because then, as she stated, then we use you as the go-between, but in reality, the person that you're going to go for, really have no standing because you have no law in the ordinance to support it. So if you're going to change anything, there has to be a standard of what you're going to do. Right now, just appealing the ordinances is no standard. So if you're going to do something like this, it's got to be collectively with management and city and come up with an actual plan.
Mhm.
Because no matter how you look at it, it's not fair to, so far that I counted, I had 17 emails supporting your position. Well, 17 people in my time up here, I can't support that as a change to an ordinance in the city of Miami Springs. I need more than that you need more than that to make any
Okay,
kind
well,
of
we
change.
can
Well, I
definitely
know-
get
I
you more
know.
than that.
And plus, I don't think that the people that are in our situation, because you are blessed to have these people that love what you do and love these animals, you have the wherewithal to get organized to come up to council. But I don't think the masses in Miami Springs are worried about this right now.
I
So
don't
you're
think they're
in my
worried
mind,
about it.
the people that don't want it. They
Um,
haven't been awakened to speak about it as it was earlier on when you and I first met and the different things that were going on in the city. I don't think they've been awoken of what's happening about this ordinance and how many cats and everything. Because you're talking about waiving it and you're not really telling me how many cats you think's permissible in a home.
Because I think any number is arbitrary.
Yeah, but
We've
still-
had people here that have had 12 dogs in their house. Nobody ever knew it because they were well managed.
Well, that doesn't make it right,
So
though.
what's an arbitrary, so
But
50
that
cats,
doesn't
what's an
make it right.
arbitrary number?
But that doesn't make it right. They're breaking the law. And that doesn't make
But
it
that's what
right.
you, so
So I can't, I'll just put it this way, I can't support repealing the ordinance. I don't know if anybody else has anything.
Through the chair, can you hear me, Erica, can you hear? I brought a copy tonight with me of chapter 90 of the code. It's not just 2 and 3, 02 and 03. It goes from 01 to 015. And what it talks about is horses running down the street, dogs barking, and some other ridiculous things, selling of cattle. And these go back to like 1947. Now, Laney's correct. I think it was about 16 months ago to be exact. You came in front of council and requested this to be done on behalf of the organization at the time. It wasn't Strays. I think you were in the process of making the change or had slightly before that. The point is this. There's no teeth to this. It's not being enforced, either 2 or 3, about the number of cats, 3 or more. And it really puts you in an awkward position as a good Samaritan relative to going out there and doing what you do. I know what you do. You're the veterinarian 4 days a week with various cases, not only cats, but other animals in this city. Your organization does a fantastic job.
Thank you.
Look, I believe us to be a sympathetic city. I also believe that we have a lot of clutter in the code, particularly in 90, that needs to get cleaned up. Many years ago on this council, we talked about that. And the attorney at the time, Jen Seaton, got back to us and said, you know how much money it's going to cost us to clean up all this stuff? And it was astronomical. Mayor, you may remember that.
Yeah, I know.
And so we just let it go. We just kind of turned our heads, which is exactly what's happening here. And I think what it takes in a case like this for somebody to come up and make an issue of it, somebody that wants to do something about it, and take the city, off the cuff as far as having to enforce something that they have no intention to do. I happen to look at the information. I'm sure all my colleagues did as well. The number of violations against these 2 ordinances over the last 4 years, William, I think it was you sent us. And to my count, there was like, not counting this year, there was like only 4 this year. But even before that, going back to 17, it was very minuscule. So,
And not enforced
in my view, these 2 ordinances are not purposeful. They're not purposeful, and they really put people in bad stead in terms of trying to do something to fix it. Look, nobody wants an animal euthanized. Nobody in their good frame of mind wants an animal euthanized, because and that's exactly what will happen in that colony from the runway, if
As a matter of fact, when the runway was shut down.
Let me just continue.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Mike,
No,
Laney.
sorry.
Now we talk about a standard. The mayor spoke about a standard. I happen to have some agreement with him on that, because I think there could be a standard established, and I think that could be negotiated in some fashion between you and your administration. And that would be my proposal here tonight, that we move forward in that fashion and not just dismiss you again on grounds of, well, it's not hurting anything. Well, now, and some of these other things in here are just, I mean, I don't know if any of you guys read 90, the whole thing. It's ridiculous. So again, if somebody has come to us and is requesting that we lift these in lieu of actually the law being practiced correctly on both sides of the thing. Most people that pick up stray cats, they feed them outside and they stay outside. And I know you've gone out to the colonies and taken these for spay and neuter and when they're injured, run over on the side of the road and stuff. Like Tom Nash has told me mega stories about this over the years. And I support what you're trying to do tonight. And I hope some of my colleagues would appreciate where we're going with this. It's a matter of logic. It's not a matter of just, it's not a big deal. Let's not do anything about it. You wouldn't be here if it wasn't a big deal.
Correct.
Thank you, Mayor. That's all I have, sir.
Okay.
And I do want to say 2 other things, which is when the runway was shut down, I was called to the hotel when the police were there. Originally it was midnight and then it was moved to noon. They got the judge to change it to noon so they could get everybody out. And I was called to come because Animal Service was there when the police were there doing the final shutdown. Animal Services handed me the baton because they didn't want to get involved in this because they have nothing to do with the cats. They would all be euthanized. This would affect their numbers. And who wants to kill healthy animals? And no conscionable vet is going to do that. If I go with cats and say, here, these need to be put down because they're illegal, they're going to turn me away and say, no, that's unethical.
Go ahead. You want to say?
So Lainey, thank you. I want to start by saying I've got 3 rescue dogs at home. I've actually got a relationship
Are
going
you
back.
sure it's only 3?
Yeah, it's only 3. But let me tell you, at times it's been more. My
know.
wife and I have found, I've called you before because we've found dogs. We've found probably a dozen dogs that we've fostered temporarily, found their owners or found somebody else to take them. So I'm an animal lover. I'm always going to push back against the binary argument of repeal the ordinance or love all of God's creatures, because I mirror your sentiments about the love of animals and I respect what you do. As a matter of fact, my wife and I, we've never bought a dog from a puppy mill. The last time we were looking for a dog, I called you and I went to one of the people in your organization who fosters dogs to give to families, and she had multiple dogs in the house. So you guys are doing God's work. I think that we need to focus on solutions and looking for compromise. I think I agree with the mayor that I don't see a scenario where I could support just abolishing the ordinances, because I think you need to draw the line somewhere in order to have an enforcement recourse for when people abuse. I think even if you lifted the ordinances, you're still going to have to go and mitigate between neighbors, and you're always going to have lots of work to do. But I feel like there has to be an ordinance. I'm opening. I feel like there's room for. So I think about that foster woman that had dogs. I think that we need to explore maybe coming to a number that makes it easier for you to find some foster homes for animals as you try to relocate them. I know that I did some research. Alachua, Brevard, Gilchrist, Okaloosa, Palm Beach County, they all have ordinances that regulate like cat colonies and things like that. And then there's the other side of it. Monroe County, they're not, I mean, we talk about like Miami-Dade County allows them to be free roaming. In Monroe County, any owner who has a cat that's free roaming, you're violating their ordinances. So I think that there's a lot of, I agree with you that I think that educating the community about not abandoning your unwanted pets, right? About sterilizing your pets. Couldn't agree more. I think that's important. But I think that we need to try to find a compromise, because if it's, either love the animals or repeal the ordinances, or you don't love animals, like that doesn't work for me. So I would be in favor of exploring outside. I'd also like to hear from the city attorney about what other communities around us are doing in terms of animal control ordinances, because I don't think we're alone in this. But I'd like to find, a compromise where it helps you, but also provides us, again, some enforcement recourse so that when there is a problem, there's teeth to it so that we can intervene and try to help, because it's really a slippery slope to get to a huge public nuisance problem if there isn't some type of line in the sand.
What about a nuisance ordinance as opposed to a number ordinance?
We can throw this around, but I got some nice ideas. I'd sit down and talk to you about it, propose them to you so we could propose to here.
I'd love to.
There's a situation where you might have some kind of a registration of people who are actually doing this, so that there is a guidance for the city to know what homes are doing and what homes aren't. But you don't want
People
that.
paying me under the table to get on the list.
You don't want that though, dude. You don't want that though, right? No, because, that's something it's got to be discussed. And
I definitely agree, and I'm open to discussion.
I had this talk with you my first 2 years as mayor. We almost had it done until I made a stupid statement, but we almost had it done, but my big mouth. But I'll sit down and talk with you and come up with an idea.
Okay, I'd love to speak with you all individually and see if we can come up with a solution here. Because obviously, if I open the doors of the Runway Inn and let those cats out, you're going to get complaints.
Yeah.
And for now, the hotel is shut down. I'm still going to the hotel and taking care of the cats. They're not being removed.
Okay.
3 have been removed to a house that's legal.
Okay.
So, through the chair.
Mayor, can we ask Haiti if there's any
Wait.
guide or General
We'll let-
here
Hey,
about
you know, I thank you for everything you do. You know, I've always been a supporter. of
Yes,
yours.
Amy, thank you.
No, you're welcome. I kind of going to echo what everyone up here said regarding just doing away with the ordinance. Now, I hear you've never had any issues mitigating issues. Where you go talk to the people, the folks that might have 20 cats and you work it out. What happens one day you can't work it out and there's no recourses for you to, or us to follow if we repeal the ordinance?
Well, to me, there's always a way to work it out.
Yeah, but not
And,
everybody's
and
like
we,
you.
and there are so many, that one big deal 12 years ago ended up at a meeting, but we do this all the time.
But there's going to be one day that it's not going to work out and we're not going to have any recourses. We're not going to have an ordinance. We're not going to have anything.
But-
So I want to echo what Walter's saying, man, we need to find a compromise.
Okay,
And
and
maybe
I'm
the
open to
number
that.
can change, but I hear you don't want to change the number because it's just a
Well,
number.
I think that, right, exactly. It's a number, and some people can manage an enormous amount of animals, and some people can't manage one.
right.
And I've met both.
Right.
All types of people that take really good, seriously, yesterday, I was driving up Curtis Parkway. Somebody pulls onto the median, opens a door and lets his very well manicured Shih Tzu out and stays in the car. His dog walks around doing its business. And I actually U-turned to take a picture of his tag because that's absurd. And because he saw me, he pulled around, but he didn't go get his dog. He didn't have his dog under his control. He takes really good care of his dog. He loves his dog, but that's inappropriate.
Yeah.
Was somebody out there to ticket him because you have to have your dog under your control at all times? No.
If I could respond, Mayor, just to echo Councilman Petrolanda's point, it's kind of like when you go to mediation in lieu of going to a trial, there's an accountability point there
Right.
that kind of forces the parties to come together.
To talk.
And
yeah.
even though you think there's always a way, and I believe you, that you could work it out, but the fact that there's the accountability of something to be enforced kind of pushes people to the table, like you guys got to figure a way to
I
figure this out.
understand.
So that's why, again, I echo Councilman Petrolanda in terms of like a full abolishment.
Okay, I'm willing to back up and discuss it and see if we can come up with a compromise. Absolutely.
I don't want you to feel bad about this, Lane, because I know you're
No,
doing
I
a fine
don't.
job and we got to find a solution because
I
there is a
agree.
problem. So we need to find a solution. for it.
Mhm.
And you can count on all of us up here
Thank
to
you.
help you out with it. That's all I have.
Through the chair, Mayor, if I might. I think this has been said like already about working it out and all of that. I think it was mentioned initially. So we're just hearing the same thing over and over again, which we heard 16 months ago on the council.
Yeah, but
Right.
now you have the different situation here.
I think maybe, I was just thinking, listening to my colleagues here, that rather than abolishing these two, certainly as written in 1954, they're not applicable to present times. Read them. I invite you to read them. And others, all the way up to 9015 on this. We might as well clean it all up at once as long as we're doing something, and we can thank Laney for that maybe. But I do think it needs to be addressed, and perhaps in conjunction with the administration, Laney's group, and any interested parties, such as some of us up here maybe, can get
How do
involved
we
in
do
that.
that?
And let's rewrite the ordinances. How do we do that?
How do we do that? Yeah, my problem is I'm.
Well, we'll
ignorant
have
about
legal input. And
civic
Well,
stuff.
one thing's for sure, all of us can't be at one of your meetings together.
I know that.
We can do this.
I didn't mean that. You know what I mean.
No, I wasn't talking about what you said. You know that. So
course.
I met with your organization a couple of times before. If you want to set a date for me to sit down and talk with you all, I'll come and sit. And if the rest of the council wants to sit down and talk, they can. And you throw the ideas together
Mhm.
and see what happens. And that's how I look at it. But in 1954, maybe 1954 in the time, it makes common sense. In my mind, 3 cats and 3 dogs is a pretty good limit in my mind to this day, to take care of. I mean, I know people love animals and everything. I understand that. But there's limits to everything,
Of
so.
course.
So, they were pretty smart to set it at 3 dogs and 3 cats in my mind. not knowing that what was going to happen was that you would have a bunch of people that would just dump cats out of the window, you know? Plus, there, you know, I don't understand this, you know, the big Miami-Dade County there in Medley.
You mean in Doral?
That's in Doral now? That facility's empty.
It absolutely, well, the old one is,
Yeah.
but it's a dinosaur.
Yeah,
It's
but
disgusting.
It's completely empty. You would think.
Because they have a new shelter that
know.
is, the animals are in air conditioning, they're in good facilities where they can be
I
shown.
understand, but it's empty now.
But walk Medley, you wouldn't want to be in there,
What do you
Billy.
mean, Doral?
I'm talking walk the empty shelter,
Oh,
Medley.
Medley.
Is a horror.
It's horror?
It's a prison.
Okay.
It's not a facility.
You
It's-
can't even get a retrofit fixed up or anything.
It wouldn't be worth it to the county. They have the shelter that
tear it
is a showpiece.
Okay,
It's wonderful.
all right.
But,
I have somebody else wants to speak on this.
okay.
Mr. Valencia?
I'm sorry, I was Joe Valencia, 25 South Drive. And I was actually home relaxing and listening to this online with my wife. And I couldn't believe the level of misinformation. I don't think any of you have read the ordinance except for Councilman Best. I can't believe that you are basing your decision, Mr. Mayor, on the fact that what I heard online a little while ago, that 17 people spoke in support. I don't even know what to say about that. It's absurd. I mean, you don't seem to care about anything other than what the majority of the voters might be saying, or the only one that's actually done some due diligence and actually read anything seems to me like Councilman Best. So what are we doing here? You're making decisions without being informed. I don't think you've read the ordinance, have you? Or you?
Right here.
You did? You read it?
Yeah.
Or you?
Mayor, is this open forum? Mayor, is this open forum?
Yeah, no, he's talking on the
Oh,
item.
okay, all right.
No, it's not open forum.
He's
Because
talking
we're
on
allowing people to speak in open forum, even if
No,
they come late.
I'm speaking in support of Laney
Okay,
and what she does.
I figured that out.
You're speaking right, you're on an agenda item. The agenda's up. You're fine. He's fine, Councilman Petrolog.
I mean, if I'm not fine, I'll walk away right now because,
I said you're fine.
okay,
I was supporting you to tell Mr. Petrolanga that you're on the agenda item.
That's what I asked.
And I told you that.
and that's what I responded.
The floor is yours, sir.
No, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. I actually got dressed. I was actually sitting at home and I left my house, and came over here because there's no way to communicate with anybody online. There's no way to do it. So physically I had to drive over here when I didn't want to do this to be be put at risk for COVID-19 or anything, because there is no way for me to voice my opinion online. And you are totally misinformed.
Are you done?
I'm done. Yes.
Thank you. Thanks for coming down.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor, through the chair, is there any way we can move forward on this thing with a direction to the administration to work something along the lines of what I think we're all thinking up here in unison about what needs to be done? First of all, it just jumps off the page at me. The second word of 02 in the ordinance speaks to livestock, for heaven's sakes. So there's no question this needs to be cleaned up. And at the same time, maybe we can do something along the lines of helping the NP work with the city better in taking care of some of these matters. That would be my thought, gentlemen.
I would like to
I also don't
say,
think we need to reinvent the wheel. I'm sure that there's lots of municipalities that are dealing with this same issue, so that's why.
Well, there might be, Mr. Pahet, but we're Miami Springs.
I understand, but, it's a good place to start, just to see what other municipalities are doing.
I would like to say it, I think one common thing that we've gotten from this discussion is that at least the majority of the council up here is not in favor of repealing an ordinance. Totally. I'm not going to go from, okay, because nobody follows speed limits on the expressways, or if people speed, we'll abolish all speed limits. So if you can work with, either with the mayor or with the city council at looking at something that, and that's why I asked you from the beginning, I asked you, would you be satisfied if we increase the number, Lainey? And you said no, that you want it repealed. So that's two
Well, if you
opposite
increase the number
sides.
to 50, I'm good.
Okay, well, I don't think that's gonna work, but.
I know it
I know,
won't.
so, but that's what I'm saying, that I think that that's what I've gotten from here is that perhaps we can tweak it. Right now, it's 3 caps, and you're saying, and like I said, as far as when people do things discreetly in the community, it's happening all the time.
But you're, just like you said, if we eliminate speed limits and everybody speeds, so you're saying, okay, we'll look the other way, you just do illegal acts.
No, we're not
Yeah, you
eliminating,
are.
even though we know that people speed, we're not eliminating speed limits, is what I'm saying. Even though we know that because we need to have a way to encourage people to keep the speed, even if they don't, even if we can't catch 100% of them, there are times when we can use that to enforce it when we see somebody speeding. So what I guess I would like to suggest is that if you're willing to, like with the mayor, talk to the mayor and then, perhaps bring back to us something that we can consider. Abolishing it, I don't see it happening. I know I'm not going to be for that, for abolishing an ordinance that's there to protect these situations when, and Lainey, honestly, your organization, like I said, I have nothing but the utmost respect for
I know.
you and, honored, and it's,
Mhm.
but I'm trying to understand this, and all of us have to think of the whole community.
But this was for discussion tonight.
Yes.
To go forward.
Mhm.
I think we can resolve it.
But perhaps, the other issue that we're saying too is for your organization to resolve this, and your organization is being held by you. What if you decide to move to
I'm
North
just the
Carolina?
director of the organization. I'm not the only
I know, but
person.
you are.
I'm just the face of the
Yes, but
organization,
you're
which is not
awesome.
meaningful,
You
sort
are
of like
awesome.
Mayor Bain.
You hold everything.
wanna
You are
just
the glue that holds it all together,
make
and you do an
my
awesome
day.
job.
Lady, you are the organization.
No, I'm not.
Yeah.
No, it's really not true, Jaime. Just because you don't see the rest of the organization doesn't mean it doesn't exist.
Maybe we need to work on that then. Because I see the organization, I see you, I see the organization.
Because you're not involved.
Well, I mean, I see you out
You're
there.
involved when I come to speak here
No,
or
but
when there's an issue.
I drive around and I talk to people and the name I hear is always yours.
Right, yeah, we're gonna see if what we can work out here. I'd appreciate it if you give me a call and ask when we can sit down,
Okay,
preferably after 5 o'clock any day.
in the morning?
And yeah, that's fine, and 5 o'clock in the morning is fine
Because that's
too.
my time, man.
No, but I would rather do it after I get home from work, but 5 o'clock anytime, I'll
Okay.
sit down and we'll throw it around. If anything comes out of mine, we'll present it.
Okay,
and
and I
then
hope
talk
that
to
that
anybody else.
invitation is open from all of you.
Okay?
Certainly is.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you for
Thank
making
you,
it.
Lainey, and thank you for everything you do in the community.
Okay, we go on to city attorney. Anything from you tonight?
No, Mayor and Council.
Huh? Oh, sorry. Anything?
No, Mayor and Council.
City management, anything from you tonight? Okay, he's not feeling good, so anything quick, please, Councilman Best?
Just real quick, I'd just like to speak. I was saddened to hear of Tom Nash's desire to retire. Certainly, welcome to fill his shoes. I'm sure the administration's working on it. I just wanted to mention that just in case anyone at home wasn't aware of that. It was mentioned earlier in the meeting, but and then secondly, kudos to Jim Crossland for his negotiating skills for the city on behalf of the police department and the collective bargaining agreement. Thank you, sir.
Councilwoman.
The only thing I wanted to bring up, Mayor, and perhaps we'll have to ask for a discussion for next one, is Councilman Best brought this up. It's something that I know has weighed on my mind for a long time, and I've spoken with Jen Spino about it in the past, is our codes. We have so many codes like this that need cleaning up. This might be a good chance. We have a code review board that's dormant. We put people on this board, and the whole purpose of the code review board is for them to help us look at certain codes. I understand some codes are way too complicated for just members of the public to deal on their own. But this is a perfect example of something that I think we could initiate the code review board to assist with. And then from there on, give them things that, ask them to help us review codes that are, that are old and possibly, it's time for the residents to have input.
I support that, by the way.
Yeah, I also wanted to wish all the best to Tom Nash. We're sad to see him go, but we wish him the best as he moves. I also wanted to just acknowledge the new director at the Curtis Mansion, Julie Arias. They're doing a haunted house this year, and what I've heard is that it's been very successful. So I want to encourage residents to get tickets and go. I think they're holding it Thursdays through Sundays most weeks. You have to get tickets ahead of time, but support the Curtis Mansion and have a good time.
Councilman Hitchelager?
Yes, it's good to be back together. I think since we started with this Zoom thing, the council's kind of gone a little bit split up. I think coming here every night when we have a council meeting, it kind of brings the council and everyone together. So it's good to be back. Tom, I wish him all the luck. Do we have a date for him yet, or?
Mid-November?
Mid-November.
Yeah, but I mean, we don't have a specific day or anything like that. Just let us know if you're having any kind of a celebration and going away or something, see if we can attend, okay? I want to thank the city clerk, the city manager, and Ralph out there. Audio much better today, sir, much better. I can hear everyone now today. I don't know who that person is, but thank you.
The pros from Dover up there.
We're back in the swing of things again. School started again last Monday. This Friday, the 8th graders in the high school started. So we're hoping that we don't have to close down the school anytime soon again, and hope everything goes forward. We're taking extra precaution, at least in my school. Make sure we keep the kids separate, and we don't have all the students there yet. We have maybe 40% of the students. The rest are still home, doing it from home. So hopefully we can keep it open and keep the country going forward and opening up the economy and getting everybody back to work and everybody, back to normal. That's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Just one thing, the manager's going to have the Zoom meeting with CVS about helping us out with testing for the senior center. We'll see what comes of it. Jose Fuentes set it up for me. I talked to them. They're to set up the logistics with the manager to see if it's cost effective, so that when the center opens, that we possibly can let them use the center. It's the new one where you get the results in 15 minutes. So I'm hoping that there's some kind of a situation where every time you talk to somebody, it's always about cost. But we got to figure it out. But I'd like to see them use our new center if we can, as early as we can and as safe as we can.
Good point.
So that's where I'm going with that. And I thank Jose for doing that. And the manager I might sit in the meeting too. That'll be Thursday, right? Thursday. Congratulations on your vote of confidence. Yeah. We're going to miss Tom Nash. God bless Miami Springs. This meeting's adjourned.